Ahoy, hoy, everyone. Thank you for listening again to Spooky Mountain, and we hope that you enjoy this week's newest episode. You have Jordi and you have Steph, and
Hi.
Once again, we're sitting here. We're going to mention it every single episode until winter is over. We're sitting here freezing our titties off.
We look ridiculous right now.
Yeah, we're so rugged up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's officially fucking winter.
Yeah, we need to get ourselves a studio with like primo heating.
Yeah, and just like a really nice like hot teapot just in the middle.
Girl. So perfect. I would pay for that.
Yeah. That's the dream. That's the goal right there.
Join our Patreon so we can achieve this. So what story are you doing this week?
Oh my God. Okay. So it's something I haven't done.
Okay.
It's one of those ones again. It is all about humans, about people.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't really say too much.
Okay.
Just like yours last week. Like this, I can't really say too much, but it's about people. It's like about a specific group of people, humans that exist. They are real. And it's just really fascinating and mysterious.
Okay. Maybe we should call these topics theories.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite.
Oh,
I don't
it's
even
a
know
legitimate thing.
Okay.
This one.
Is it a theory about a thing that actually that does exist?
No. This one's about like humans that have some sort of special thing going on.
Okay.
That cannot be explained.
Oh my God. I love this.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the interesting ones.
Yes. And yours, you told me yours before.
Yeah, so mine's pretty weird. It's like it's a mystery UFO crossover.
Okay.
Possible UFO crossover. I don't.
All right.
Yeah, we don't know for sure. So yeah, I guess just a mystery.
Okay.
I've been doing like a lot of mysteries, so I think
We love a good mystery.
we love a good mystery, but I think I'm due to do something else next week. A cryptid. Finally do a conspiracy.
Okay. I have no idea what it is.
I'm not sure if you would have heard of this one, but you might have.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, I'm fucking keen. Well, before we get into our little shit talking part, just a reminder, as Jordi said before, we do have a Patreon. That is the best way you can support us. So it's a subscription service where you can sign up. The link is in all of our show notes. Once you sign up, you can choose from a couple of tiers, which level of support you'd like, and then you get some stuff in return. So we make exclusive videos. We've got blogs that we write up every month. We've got a Discord group as well. We can chat shit to us. And but of course, you can always just leave us a review or share the show around with your friends. Just tell one of your friends that we exist, you know, just tell them that there's this really fucking good show, podcast. Listen to it. Put us up in your social media. That's just another awesome way to support us as well.
Yeah, just telling like one person about us really helps. And something I'll just mention that I've started doing on Patreon is, so occasionally in our episodes we play audio like relating to the story that we're telling, and we've just started putting up the audio kind of like alone with like some photos and stuff. So if you want to just listen to that audio back, you can do that. So it's just a good example of like little extra things that you get if you join our Patreon.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff too.
Behind the scenes.
There's lots of cool stuff on there.
And also we are active on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on the others, but we are mostly on Instagram and Facebook, where we answer messages and questions, and we shit talk a lot, and we post photos relating to our stories. And you can find the links to those in our show notes, and you can also find it on our website. So you can contact us through any of those platforms, or you can just contact us at our email, which is spookymountainpodcast@gmail.com. We reply to every single one of our emails.
We sure do.
We're always very excited to get a new email as well. And something else that we have is a service called SpeakPipe, which is actually like a voice message service. And yeah, it's just like maximum 60-second voicemail message. And if you like, we can play the voicemail on an episode of Spooky Mountain.
Yeah.
So
it's a super cool way to, like, I guess, connect with us. It's just like a different media form. Like if you just got just sort of a really funny story or something really fucking weird just happened to you, just leave us a voicemail super quick. It's like really intuitive to use as well.
Yeah.
And,
you just press the button and it records it, and then it just automatically like sends it to us. And yeah, I find it's a really nice way to connect to people that you don't know.
Yeah.
As well, because it's like you get to hear the voices of people that
it
you've
makes
maybe
it real, doesn't it?
to. It does.
It makes it a lot more real, like hearing your voices, because we're just talking to each other, you know, and into the void. Who fucking knows if anyone's listening, you know? So when we actually get people's voices back that we haven't heard, we're like, oh.
It's real people. It's funny. I kind of, even though we're talking at each other and into the void, I do feel like we almost do have an audience when we're when we're talking in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe it's just
so.
knowing that people are going to hear it.
I guess we've had a live show which confirmed that there are people.
There are definitely
that listen.
real life people who listen to us. It's not all just like bots set up to listen to our podcast.
Just Russian bots that are just listening.
All the Russian bots.
Yeah, do all the things. Support the show.
Do all the things.
I just finished watching a show.
Oh, did you? What show were you watching?
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of it. I only just saw it and I clicked on it while watching dinner. The Pentavert? The Pentravert?
Oh, no, I've never heard of this.
It's, you know Mike Myers?
Yes.
So he wrote the show and he stars in it. And it's
really?
So we literally just finished it tonight. It's only 6 episodes, 1 season, and we just watched it in 3 hours, the whole thing.
I didn't even realize that he was still doing stuff.
I know. And it's so good. So it depends on your sense of humor because it is very Austin Powers-esque.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like most of his comedy is like kind of slapstick.
It's really got that. But the whole thing about it, which is really cool, is it's about secret societies.
Oh, cool.
And he combines all of these like conspiracy theories. You know, it's got everything about, you know, like the Illuminati, Scientology, the Majestic 12.
Way.
Yeah, it's got every type of conspiracy you can imagine in this show.
That's amazing.
And it's so good.
I wonder if in real life he's like really into this shit.
I don't know, because you can tell he knows
His
like
stuff.
For him to write it, I was like, okay. He knows what the fuck's going on.
I mean, like the Majestic
I was picking
12.
up on the smallest things.
Crazy. He's definitely a conspiracy theorist.
I think so.
We should try and get him listening to Spooky Mountain.
Oh, God. I know. I love him. It was fantastic. I actually laughed and we were just like the jokes in it. Like it took us like the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh, is this going to be good? Like I honestly don't know. But then he just gets here with like the most amateur like dick jokes and you're like, this is so funny. And I couldn't tell the first episode. I was like, does Dylan think this is funny?
Yeah.
Second episode, he was like cry laughing.
Oh, it's that
so
funny.
I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Wow. I am so torn as to whether I'm going to like this because I'm not the biggest fan of like the Austin Powers comedy style.
Gotcha.
But it sounds pretty good though.
Pentaveret. The Pentaveret. That's how you say it. Because it's spelt weird and I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's called the Pentaveret. It's on Netflix.
Might have to look at it. Have you ever watched Love, Death and Robots?
You know what? I haven't.
Oh, and fucking hell, you got to watch it.
I don't know why I haven't, because the second season just came out, didn't it?
The third season.
Oh.
The third season just came out. It is incredible because it's all short episodes. They go for maybe like, they're all different lengths.
Yeah.
but I think the longest one is maybe like 13 minutes or something.
Oh, no way. That's so short. And it's all animations,
It's all
right?
animation, and each episode has been created by a different person. And it's the
Yeah.
same people who did Black Mirror. It's made by the same people who did Black
Is
Mirror.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay.
Amazing.
You sold me there.
And because each story is so different and each animation style is super, super different to the last episode because it's all been created by someone else, it's super interesting. Like it's very gripping because each one is very unique to the last.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. I just don't know why I haven't gotten around to it. I don't know.
Well, they're super short episodes, so you can just kind of like dip your toes in and watch a couple, and it's low commitment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I need right now. My life's chaos, so that sounds good.
Short attention span.
Yeah,
type
that's what I was looking for with this, and then I just we just watched the whole thing, and I was like, oh shit, it's over. Okay,
it's done. Yeah, it's kind of nice when that happens.
Yeah,
and it's just short and sweet.
Oh yeah.
So also, I thought I was gonna mention really quickly something that is related to our last episode. We spoke about your rat story.
Yeah, still haven't found the other half.
Haven't found the other half.
But I thought I did though.
Oh, you thought you did?
Yeah, because it's been really fucking windy here, and I was working, and where I work, because I work from home on my computer, and it was so windy outside, and I can see my backyard, and it was blowing all of this like weird shit around, and I thought I saw the other half of the rat, and I was staring at it, and I was speaking to a customer,
Jesus
because I'm like customer service, and I just like made eyes with this half a rat, and I realized it was my gardening glove. I was like rolled into a ball, but I really was convinced.
Oh my God, imagine just seeing half a rat blowing in the breeze.
That's what I thought. I was like, this is too much.
Too much, no. Yeah. Well, there is a theory that's been put forward by one of our patrons who is named Rosie, and Rosie is amazing. I used to work with Rosie, and we used to do bush regen together. And in bush regen, you see a lot of wildlife, especially including powerful owls. And so Rosie has put forward the theory that it was possibly a powerful owl that destroyed this rat, because they're super, super like, they're not vicious, but they're amazing hunters.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're very precise with their kills, and they're like
so precise.
It does. Yeah, I mean, it could have been a pretty big owl. It like the hollow out part definitely makes sense. I'm still like the clean cut really confused me. That's where I was like, how could it rip something off that clean?
Yeah,
and leave nothing else.
I reckon a powerful owl could do that.
But I mean, that actually is probably the most reasonable,
feasible. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, like doing work in regen, I've seen owls like perched in trees, like powerful owls perched in trees.
I don't even know how big they are.
They're the biggest owl in Australia.
Why?
I'm pretty sure they're one of the biggest owls in the world.
How big are we talking here?
Oh, I don't even know. It's different. I think maximum. I don't know. I'm not going to make up a number.
How tall?
That I don't
like how many? Know. How many hands tall are we talking here?
How many Danny DeVitos?
How many?
Hang on. Let me just.
Oh,
I don't know. 4, 5? They're huge.
Wait, what the fuck? I didn't know there were owls that big.
Yeah, they're massive, and their talons are like very sharp. But I've seen really like powerful owls perched in trees, still holding like whole possums, and they just watch you. God. They just watch you while they're like clinging on, and they just cling onto their prey for a while. So definitely could be a powerful owl.
I think so. Are there owls in like the suburbs?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Like again, doing the work that I used to do, we had a lot of jobs around Sydney and like all sorts of places.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Anywhere there's like tall trees.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, that just shook my world.
There you go. You've probably got a powerful owl living near.
I mean, I don't doubt I've got some big trees and a lot of weird noises once it gets dark. So
yeah. You've probably got
It's scary outside.
Yep, you've got a family of owls living near.
Cool.
Cool.
Well,
That was just a whole segment on owls. I mean,
yeah. Well, maybe I'll
pretty
get
much
into my
nature.
story.
Yeah, let's stop being nature experts and let's talk about the stories.
All right. So let's get into it. All right. So as I said
Oh,
before,
yeah, I just remembered what your hint was for this, and I'm really excited to hear.
yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's definitely like a completely different direction. I have actually been wanting to do this one for a while, and it's just been one of those ones that I've just kind of been slowly adding to, like finding the right thing. I think this is extremely fascinating. Now, this isn't scary per se, but it definitely is something mysterious that we haven't been able to fully understand. We don't really understand what's happening. I will be going through a list of some of the most amazing humans who have super abilities that cannot be explained or that have incredible one-off mutations.
Oh my God. I love a good list.
Yes,
and
so this is the list one.
Mystery.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, some of these are crazy. So for the first person I'm going to cover, his name is Daniel Kish. Now, this man is truly amazing. He was born in 1966 in California, and unfortunately, due to retinal cancer, he had to get his eyes removed before he was even 13 months old.
Oh, no.
I know, very young.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and
terrible.
they ended up putting prosthetic eyes in.
Falsies.
Yep. He has been able to move his way around the world by using the same method as bats. He makes clicking noises with his tongue and can determine where objects are and figure out his surroundings.
I think I've maybe watched a video. Wait, what year was he born? Maybe not.
1966.
Oh, yeah. I think I've watched a video of this person.
Yeah, most likely. Some of these people are quite well known.
Cool.
So, yeah, that he probably made it on TV. Yeah, so he makes clicking noises with his tongue and can determine where objects are, and he can figure out his whole surroundings. He knows if he's outside or inside. His hearing has become so incredible, he can ride a bike through heavy traffic.
Wow.
Yeah, on his own. He can climb trees. He goes camping alone. And he has no issues going out and dancing as well, like just the normal life.
It's almost just like a second sight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the technique he uses is called echolocation. Echolocation, sorry. Keep saying echolation, but it's echolocation. I don't know why.
I think you just invented a new word.
I know. I'll find a reason for that one. And he has become an expert in this. So he's actually well known around the world, and other blind people hire him to help them make it easier in the world. So,
wow. He's like a blind person trainer.
Yeah, definitely. And Ben Underwood, so he's another person who used echolocation to help navigate the world. Being a legally blind person, he ended up living a pretty active life. He would end up going for runs, playing basketball, bike riding, football, and even skateboarding.
That is so amazing that people are able to have this option after losing your eyesight. Because imagine how fucking hard that would be.
Oh, my God. Yeah, but having the sight and then having that taken away from you.
Away from you. Oh, yeah.
Even like being deaf, like having a sense, like knowing what that is and then having it taken away would be like soul crushing. That would be insane.
Do you think that would be harder than perhaps being born without that sense and kind of being naive, or not naive, what's the word? I
think so.
Oblivious to what the sense is like anyway.
I think so. Yeah, because for example, if you've never tasted food or had a sense of taste in your life, you don't know what you're missing out on. You know,
I can't even.
But like
imagine.
knowing what chocolate tastes like and then never being able to taste it again, I don't know.
I went to high school with a girl who she was born without the sense of smell, and she had an operation to give her a sense of smell. And she told me that she was just throwing up for days after she was
Really?
given
It
her
was just too
sense of smell.
intense.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which I could imagine, like, I kind of understand that.
Yeah. So the next person I'll be discussing. Now, this is a very well-known person
Okay.
and probably the most famous on the list. His name is Wim Hof.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Wim Hof.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's also known as the Iceman due to his incredible abilities. He has completely stunned scientists around the world with his breathing techniques, control, and being able to completely submerge himself in below freezing temperatures.
Oh, God, I can't even think about that right now.
Yeah, right now I was complaining about the wind outside. So since Wim was 17 years old, he had this strange urge to jump into a freezing cold lake. And once he did, he realized why. He stated he felt this instant understanding and inside connection, and his mind was free of gibberish.
Wow. It just, like, leveled him
Silenced
out.
everything.
Yeah.
And just was like, okay, this is it. He would continue to do this daily as a form of meditation. And in 1995, sadly, his wife started to show signs of schizophrenia and ended up taking her own life.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's sad.
I know, it's so sad. They had 4 children together, and of course, it just completely changed his whole life and the kids' life when that happened. Now, later on after this, Wim decided to try and spread the word about what he was doing and try to help people. He had visions of helping people with his breathing techniques and being able to use his methods to gain control over their lives again and bring them back to tranquility.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. So he feels like he kind of missed out there because he feels like he could have helped his ex-wife when it happened.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
yeah, so he's kind of got this like weird thing where he's like, I need to do it.
Need to make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never heard that he kind of ties that aspect in with what he does. I just knew that he loved jumping into like freezing water.
Like he was already doing it, but I think he didn't really challenge himself to do other crazier things until that happened, and I guess put it out there in the world of what he was doing as well. So things really started to pick up for him at this time, and the word got out. He would end up claiming 26 Guinness World Records. And in the year 2000, he swam the furthest under ice with a distance of 57.5 meters. So that's 188 feet.
My God,
which is disgusting to think about that.
Gives me fucking anxiety.
It's just even taking my socks off right now is like, no.
Oh my God. I've seen like videos of people trying to swim under ice from like one hole to another and they get lost. Like usually they'll have like a cord that they can follow back if they get confused.
Stressful watching that happen.
It is so, I feel like I can't breathe. Like
I would never do that to myself. I don't know. Yeah, because the hole is so small as well. Like
and I think when you're in such low temperatures, your brain just kind of like
you'd really have to know what you're doing to be in there. Ugh. So in 2007, he ran a half marathon while being barefoot on ice and snow, which lasted 2 hours and 16 minutes.
God.
He also climbed Mount Everest and Mount Kilimanjaro only wearing shorts and shoes.
This is crazy. That's probably just like a walk in the park for him.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, he's like, okay, no
Then
worries.
it seems like it's not even he purposely puts himself in great discomfort training to do these things. It's almost like it's just fine.
Oh, yeah. He's totally fine with it. He loves it.
It's crazy.
He's also beaten his own records 4 times by being in an ice bath. The longest being 1 hour and 53 minutes.
Oh, God.
In a fucking ice bath. Now, 4 people have actually died trying to follow his routines and attempting the stunts that he does. So there are people that will try. They can't. It's not the same.
He would have to put like a disclaimer with everything that he does.
Yes, because he does like courses and stuff, but yeah, he has to be like
very careful.
You have to do exactly what I say and completely understand everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I would never do that.
No.
So he somehow manages to keep his core temperature from fluctuating while in the cold, and he preaches what he has taught himself. It's unsure, though, if this is something that can be taught or if it is actually some amazing power he has. So that's kind of still undecided as to, like, he really does think that this is something that can be taught. But this is kind of the only person, I guess, that I talk about where he doesn't believe that he has a special power. He thinks it can be taught, and everyone else is like, no, I think this is like just you.
That is definitely how it seems. It's kind of like what I said before. It's not like he had to train himself to be able to do this. Like, I'm sure it's kind of gotten easier over time, but I don't think it was just like super, super hard to begin with, and he just kind of worked through it. It was kind of meditative
he got, like,
for him.
Not pleasure from it, but like joy and relaxation. And
you don't know. He maybe did.
Yeah, I think a few things would have been hard in the nipples. Nipples.
It wasn't the ice. That was the only thing that was hard.
So we have an Australian for the next one. Her name is Rebecca Sharrock. She's 30 years old and has highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. She can remember everything, and I mean everything. Her brain will not let her forget.
Wow.
She can remember every minute of every day and to the smallest detail.
Oh, God, what torture. That would be fucking torture. Do you do that thing where it's like you're laying in bed and suddenly a really embarrassing memory comes back and you just do like a weird little squeal or like it makes you just go really weird because you're so embarrassed.
You just don't even want to think about it. You're like, I have to think of something else. This
you're
is
just going to turn your brain off, yeah.
I don't know how she lives with herself. It would be horrible. She can literally think of any time in her past and it will bring back the exact emotion she was experiencing at the time, the smells, the sounds, and the expressions on other people's faces.
Oh, that's amazing.
At 15, she was diagnosed with autism. A year later, she was also diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder, but her parents knew there was something a bit more going on. It wasn't until her mother saw a segment on TV about her HSAM that made her realize what it was Rebecca was experiencing. She says the furthest back she can remember was just after her first birthday, and every single day after that.
Wow.
She can remember every little conversation that happened. She can remember what she ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She explains that her memories are in chronological order. So when she was younger and didn't understand calendars, she uses the images of her birthday that year and the number of candles on her cake to figure out when it was.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What an amazing person.
It's so crazy. It is unfortunate for Rebecca as being able to hold all this information in, as her brain causes a lot of anxiety for her. She says that she has to listen to music every single night to try and distract her brain enough to fall asleep. Otherwise, she gets constant flashbacks.
Hey, that's it. It would just, to have such an active brain, such a capable brain.
It makes me so upset.
Yeah.
The older she has gotten, the more she has used her ability as a tool rather than a burden. She is great at memorizing lines, so she's learning lots of new languages so she can travel and share her experiences. For most of her life, she has had people prodding her brain, trying to understand how it works. The goal is to help people with Alzheimer's, as scientists around the world think she may have the answer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is a great point.
Yeah, and she's more than happy to be a part of this whole thing. But yeah, still to this day, they do not understand how her brain works and how it can hold so much information.
That is such an amazing thing, but also such a burden. But it sounds
I think so too, yeah.
It sounds like the only thing you can do is use it as a tool, like you said.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would just go mad.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate with a lot of these stories. It does take quite a while for them to realize that because they're so kind of. It seems like for ages they don't really understand that they've got some sort of gift. Let's call it, and then later when they do realize what's going on, it then drives them crazy because they're acknowledging it more.
Yeah,
and then finally they're like, okay, I need to figure this out.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just kind of living in pain.
Yeah.
Almost. Or like just discomfort at least.
Yeah, I think I just really would not enjoy that at all. Now this one blows my mind because like me, and I know you, Jordi, you love to sleep.
Oh,
I love to
yeah,
sleep.
baby. Fucking love sleeping.
Yeah, well, Thai Ngoc is a Vietnamese-born man in 1942. And he claims that he hasn't slept a night for 48 years.
No. That is just my worst nightmare.
Yeah. He apparently came down with a bad fever in 1973. And after that passed, he wasn't able to sleep ever again.
Oh, fuck that.
But as you can imagine, he has spoken to so many professionals. He's tried medication, traditional remedies, and even just drinking heaps and heaps of alcohol, but nothing can put him to sleep.
I wonder if he is really, really, really tired because of it, or whether because he doesn't sleep, he doesn't really get tired.
He's not tired.
He's not tired.
No. Yeah, he just is not tired.
That's horrible.
He just doesn't need it. Yeah. So with regular people like us, if we lack sleep, it shows. We start to deteriorate and we succumb to all sorts of horrible things. But with him, he's in perfect health. So much so that he actually carries 250 kilogram or 110 pounds sacks of rice on his shoulders every day for over 2 miles. So he goes to pick up the rice, carries them back home. Every single day.
So rice to eat, not just because he can. Like
no rice.
Not
Yeah.
fun. Okay.
Yeah. So 50 kilograms each per sack. Yep. So no issues there. It hasn't caused him any problems. He's still able to go and work in his farm. He is perfectly fine. And Dr. Wadhwa believes he may have figured out how this is happening. So he claims that with most insomniacs, they don't realize when they're actually sleeping, as they're in fact taking very short micro naps throughout the day, but are completely unaware of it. So now this is still actually not confirmed by any specialists, as they've observed him and they did not see him take any like micro naps. Like he's been for 48 years, people have been watching him and going, And this one guy's like, yeah, probably micro naps. But people have already disregarded, saying, no, we've already watched him sleep.
And I feel like that would be a pretty easy thing to pick up on like a scan.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like, and for 48 years surviving off micro naps?
I don't think so.
No way. You're not going to be in perfect health after that. But yeah, it's just a very odd, quick story for that one. I just thought that was absolutely insane.
That is a very interesting story because I know what I get like if I don't get I need 10 hours sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I am shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I really need sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just can't even... I don't even understand.
I just feel like, obviously he's not, but I feel like you'd be in a perpetual state of just not being able to function, but clearly he's very healthy.
He's very healthy, works every day.
Strange.
Yeah, he's 78 now or something. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's still alive.
So he's old,
Yeah, he's old.
So
He was born in the 40s.
it's not like it's cut his life short, or
Nah.
because I feel like someone who doesn't sleep that much is surely going to get a heart
Was he
attack
born in
or
the
something.
40s? Oh, yeah, 1942. Yeah. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, that one. So, on to the next one. Slavisa Pajkic is a man... I hope I said that right. He was a man born in Serbia who claims to be a conductor, an insulator, a heater, or an accumulator of electricity, depending on what is needed from him.
Okay.
He is made of something that no one can figure out, and he can withhold voltages as high as 20,000 volts.
What the fuck?
Yes.
How?
Now, if a regular person was to play with electricity, 50 volts would seriously hurt you,
Right.
and 220 would kill you.
Okay, let alone, what was it, like 20,000?
20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is some absolutely crazy stuff. Not only can he touch electrical objects, but he can also generate them himself. Therefore, people get scared to shake his hand or touch what he's touching.
Fair enough.
I literally watched this video of him and he's just casually sticking metal things into power sockets. Like,
That
it's
is so dangerous.
crazy, this guy. Oh, he's...
But
yeah,
obviously for
everyone's
him,
like,
it's
do
not.
not, no one ever attempt to do what he's doing.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a wild man. So he has 2 current Guinness World Records. First was in 1983 when he was able to take on 20,000 volts without causing any injuries to his body.
Oh my God. So this has been like obviously proven. It's not just some guy being like, oh, I generate this
No,
and
it's
that.
legit.
Like,
Yeah. And then in 2003, he got another Guinness World Record for conducting electricity long enough to heat up a cup of water to 97 degrees Celsius. So that's 206 Fahrenheit. So that's just boiling point. I think, wait, is boiling point 100 or 60?
No, I don't know.
100.
I
think it's 100. Oh, God.
100? I want to say 100 as well.
I think I say 100, yeah. So, and that only took 1 minute and 37 seconds.
Wow. I mean, it
get
takes
that
a
hot.
microwave longer. Probably not. but-
Literally, my kettle takes longer
Yeah.
to boil water for my tea.
Same.
So he can also store electricity in his body, and he can just save it and then let it loose at any time.
He's like a
So
wizard.
he can like charge off something and then walk around, do normal things, and then be like, bam, and just like Pikachu at someone.
Send out. That's what I was going to say Goku at first, but that's
Yeah.
not right. I think I was thinking of Pikachu.
Goku at someone. So as you can imagine, he's been on so many shows all around the world as they get him to do all sorts of weird shit to demonstrate his ability. He's currently using his unique powers to help people that suffer from sinus and back problems and also debilitating migraines. But his next goal is to get his 3rd Guinness World Record. And what will he be doing this time? Well, he's expected to charge a 1 million volt generator and to shoot lasers from his fingers.
Wow, he will be a real superhuman.
Yeah. So people are literally saying this is impossible or this is like the most dangerous fucking thing ever. He does not give a fuck. He's like, I will die doing
It
this.
sounds like he might die doing it.
Yeah. Lasers
Like,
from his fingers.
he's at least going to burn his hands off.
He will burn his hands off. I honestly don't know. But yeah, so that's the Electric Man. Ooh. It's, oh my God. One of the images I posted is of him, which I thought was really funny. He's holding 2 metal forks with a hot dog, and he is cooking the hot dog.
He's
just
cooking the
holding
hot dog.
forks, and it's got, and it's sizzling. You can see it sparking, and the whole hot dog just split.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
It's an amazing
would
picture.
cause a person
Yeah, it's so good.
to be able to generate electricity in this way? It's just
The money he's saving these days.
on heater bills,
Yeah.
like power bills.
Yeah.
He just literally, he's a walking microwave.
He could power a city.
He could power a city. That should be his next
Yeah, that's, I know.
His next
Just
goal.
some good, you know? Actually, maybe that's what he's doing, charging the generator for someone.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the hot dog.
Oh,
That's what he's doing,
cooking the
charging
hot
the
dog for
hot dog.
people. Yeah, goes down to like the soup kitchens and cooks the hot dogs. Doing God's work. Oh my God. So for the last one that I've got here. So Jo Cameron was 65 years old when she discovered she had something very special about her. She was in the hospital getting an x-ray done for her bad hip. It had been about 4 years. She was walking around lopsided until she was asked to go in. Her GP and even her doctors at the hospital were saying she didn't need her hip looked at as she wasn't in any pain. So what's the problem? So 4 years later, they're like, okay, you should probably go in now because you've been whinging about it for so long. But when they got the results back of the x-ray, they could see that the bones had deteriorated majorly. But Jo couldn't feel a thing. She ended up getting her hip replaced with no issues the following day. While she was in hospital, though, they noticed her thumbs were also very deformed due to osteoarthritis.
Oh, shit.
And they booked her urgently for a double hand operation. The doctors explained to her this procedure is going to be excruciating. But again, the next day, she didn't feel any pain. The consultant who was with her during these appointments referred her to a pain specialist as he was highly concerned about how well she was dealing with these surgeries. They noticed that she in fact had 2 mutations. Both working together for Jo, they suppressed any pain and anxiety she would have had, and they would replace it with boosting her happiness.
Oh my God. It's like the Black Mirror episode. Have you seen that one where I'm pretty sure it's the Black Museum? The episode is called The Black Museum, and it's a doctor who feels pleasure from pain.
Yes. Yes. That was a fantastic episode. Yes. That was the roadside museum thing. That was fantastic.
Yep.
Fuck. That was good. So when she finally understood what was going on, she started to think back on all these situations in the past that didn't seem right. When she was 8 years old, she remembers not telling anyone for days that she had broken her arm until she noticed the bone was starting to reset in a weird position.
Oh.
She was always able to eat the hottest of chilies, but only got the sensation of a pleasant glow, as she described it.
Jesus Christ.
She would always be ironing herself, getting cuts, burns on her hands constantly. She has 2 kids as well, and she would end up telling expecting mothers, don't worry, it's not as bad as people say it is.
Oh,
that's right.
No.
She did not feel pain during childbirth.
Oh.
As the hours went on for her labour, she would describe the feeling as a tickle.
Oh, my God.
And when actually in transition and birthing, she would say that she could feel her body was changing and stretching, but there was no pain. Luckily for her son, he seemed to get a dulled version of her pain tolerance. He actually got a bit of it.
That's like the perfect combination because you don't want to totally not feel pain. But
yes, I agree, yeah. But her daughter and apparently her mother don't have anything like this at all. Her son was the only one that kind of got that. But yes, that's the story of Jo. Now, I think out of all of them, this is the absolute one that I would want the most.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, would you want this on the list as well?
I don't know. It seems so convenient and so nice. So I had a really bad car crash a few years ago. And since my car crash, my pain tolerance has been fucked up. Like, I am so sensitive to pain now.
Oh, really?
Because I really, really damaged myself. And I could really go some pain numbing.
Yeah.
But funny story. So I used to work in a job where I was like a bush regenerator manager for a group of other bush regenerators, but they all had different disabilities. And just part of your job was that each person who you were managing had like a case file, just kind of explaining their needs and their strengths and stuff. And one of the guys who I managed, on his case file, it said highly likely that blah, blah, blah doesn't feel pain.
Oh.
So you had to be really, really careful with where you went, because if he got hurt, or if he like rolled his
thorns
ankle
and stuff, or trip over,
cutting yourself and stuff like
that's
that.
interesting.
Like we wouldn't know if he like broke his ankle or whatever. You wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah,
but yeah, it wasn't confirmed, but it was like highly likely.
When I was reading more about this, like, so she could feel like a sensation where she could recognize something was going on.
Different. It wasn't the pain.
It wasn't like the pain receptors going off. It was like another sort of feeling going on. So this is
different.
Yeah, but there are people that I was reading that would legitimately not feel anything at all if the pain was going off in their brain, and they would start testing themselves and end up cutting their fingers off and their chunks of their tongue. They would start biting chunks of their tongue off and shit.
God, it is the Black Mirror episode where they're just like cutting themselves apart. Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you, what's something really interesting or strange about yourself? If you have something.
Yeah, I don't really have anything that cool that I can do. My shoulders are double jointed and my thumbs are double jointed.
Oh, that's cool.
They kind of get all gross.
Oh, I can see Steph clicking her thumbs.
And my shoulders and my thigh bones are double jointed too, so I can pop my thighs out.
That is going to come in handy in childbirth.
Could it be good or bad?
It'll be good because your hips kind of stretch out, although you might dislocate a hip.
I might like just pop them out and they won't go back in. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. I don't really like, that's nothing like mentally. I don't know. I don't have anything going on up there. What about you? So
the best thing I can think of is probably I have synesthesia.
What is that?
So there's lots of different types of synesthesia, but the type that I have is it's just going to sound crazy. People are going to think I'm crazy, but it's a real thing that has been proven by science. So everyone, I taste sound. So synesthesia is like you can hear colours, you can taste sound.
Before.
Yeah.
You have that?
Yeah, I have.
That's amazing.
Sound to taste synesthesia.
Holy shit.
It makes me very hungry, like a lot.
So when you like hear certain music, so are there like certain songs that like make you?
No, because it's not just like music. It's more words. That trigger it. Well, I don't know that it is for me.
So if I say corn, do you go,
Well, it's already it's like a food word. Anyway, but something that always gets me is because I've told like, a few people about it. And the question is always like, what's your biggest one that gets triggered? Or what about this? What about that? The one that is strongest for me is the sound of a bus.
Oh.
I don't know why. Like the sound that the bus makes when you're on the bus, I can't even describe, because it's not just simply like hearing something and then tasting it. It's almost just kind of like
that's really interesting.
In the back of your throat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I always get like super, super, super hungry watching movies as well because of just people saying all different words. Yeah. It's very strange.
That's really cool, though. That is very special.
It's really cool. Yeah, it's very, very special. I wish I could describe what it's like properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know how else to, like what else to ask, because I feel like I couldn't possibly imagine it.
Yeah, it is very hard to describe.
Because that's very strange. That's something we shouldn't not that we shouldn't, but like, yeah, we don't experience that normally. So I can't even imagine that.
It's very bizarre. Yeah. See, like, I can't imagine what other types of synesthesia are like.
Because there's other ones with like colours and
I think it's like hearing colours.
Yeah.
And like seeing
and music,
sounds.
sound with colours.
Yeah, it's like your senses kind of get jumbled up a little bit. Like all the different senses you can have synesthesia with. But yeah, I wish I could experience like a different kind of synesthesia as well, just to see what that would be like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hell yeah. All
cool.
right.
Well, I loved your list. I love a good list.
Yeah.
That was so interesting.
It was kind of fun doing that. I was like, all right, I know Jordi did a list last week, but I just kind of wanted to get this up because I finished watching Stranger Things as well, and I was like, all right, it's triggering that whole special abilities kind of vibe. So
I really enjoyed it. It was quite different. I love how every now and then we have like very different ones pop up.
Yeah.
In our episodes.
We've just surprised ourselves all the time, you know?
Yeah. Well, my story, I'm kind of like 50-50 on whether you will know this one. And yeah, it's a mystery. So tonight I'm going to be talking about a really strange disappearance that took place in Canada, specifically in a place called Duncan, which is in the province of British Columbia. Duncan is a very small town by area. It only spreads over like 2.07 square kilometers.
Oh.
So it's pretty tiny.
That's very tiny.
Though it still does have a population currently of about 5,050 people.
Okay, that's pretty decent.
It's quite dense for such a small area.
Yeah, that's actually, what the fuck's going on there?
I don't know. Big families living under
one big house.
So Duncan is actually the smallest town in Canada. So it's a place where many people know each other and know the ins and outs of all the gossip, which I feel like we can relate to.
Yep.
After living in the mountains, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of similar. The person that is going to be our focus of this story is a man named Granger Taylor. Have you heard of the story of Granger Taylor before?
Ooh. Okay.
Oh,
the name is like ringing bells in my head. I do not have it written down on my list, but
oh, cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Then
I don't know why I know that name though. But that's.
I guess even if you have heard of it, maybe
because it's been in passing, or I might not have been like fully paying attention.
Yeah, it's not one of these stories where you know everything about it. Hopefully, anyway.
Oh yeah.
So Granger, he was born in 1948, and he was born right in the town of Duncan, and his whole family had kind of been born and bred there. When Granger was a boy, his father was one day out fishing in his boat on Horn Lake, which is also in British Columbia, and he mysteriously disappeared. Many think he probably drowned, but his body was never found, so we don't know exactly what happened to his dad.
On Horn Lake, Hong Kong.
Horn Lake, exactly.
That's a pretty funny name. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a strange name for horny pregnant Steph. No.
Horny mature Steph. Hong Kong Lake. Okay.
So his mother, who was named Grace, eventually remarried to a man named Jim Taylor. And Jim already had children of his own. So when the two families blended, everyone got along really well. Granger got along with the kids, which now totaled 7 in the home, so a big family.
Wow. Yeah.
And Jim would pretty much become his just absolute dad and father figure in Granger's life. So
nice.
It wasn't like a "you're not my real dad" type thing.
Yeah,
like
step-parent vibes.
Yeah, he became his dad, you know.
Sweet.
It was very clear from an early age that Granger was a very peculiar person. He was very socially awkward. He had strange interests. He liked to isolate himself away from others, probably due to his awkwardness. But also, they realised from a very early age that where Granger lacked in social skills, he absolutely made up for it with his intelligence.
Ooh.
He was an incredibly bright child, and the area that Granger flourished the most in was with mechanics and engineering. So even when he was quite young, he was incredibly and uniquely bright.
Yeah.
Granger's childhood bedroom would constantly be filled with toys and gadgets that had been taken apart with the purpose of him learning the mechanics. And he had piles of books written about vehicle, locomotive, and aeroplane engineering. And he would spend essentially all of his waking time in his room poring over these books and devices.
I mean, you could only wish for a kid to be that, like, involved with something. I'm like, go for the moon, son. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. But you also kind of want them to have a social life.
Yes, you want it to be like 50-50, but yeah. Like,
you want it to be
love that you love what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
don't,
at least...
Don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah, at least he wasn't out, like, I don't know, shooting cats and shit. So, yeah, he didn't have many friends. He really just kept to himself.
Yeah.
And despite his very obvious intelligence, Granger didn't really do too well within his school life, which was probably due to bullying from other children, feeling like an outcast, and his desire to just be working on mechanical projects in his room. So he dropped out after completing only year 8, and he began, so quite young.
Yeah.
14, I think. It was like 14 that he was the age he was. And when he dropped out, he began working as an apprentice for his neighbour who owned an auto mechanic shop locally within Duncan. Granger absolutely ate this shit up. He was totally absorbed by what he was learning and seeing as an apprentice. He was just completely in his element.
You can imagine.
Mm-hmm. He really thrived in that environment.
For sure.
It was only after a year of his apprenticeship that Granger decided that he had learnt enough from working at the shop, and he was going to try and make it out on his own, working from just a shed on his family's property. Granger was actually quite successful while working for himself. He even would go on to work for just local citizens as well as local governments, in which he charged really large sums of money for his work because of what he was doing.
Yeah. Wow.
And people always found his work to be amazing. He was just really in his element, really, really good at what he did. So at the age of 14, Granger built a single-cylinder automobile, which is incredible because he was only 14.
That is wild. I wouldn't even know what to, like, how that even makes sense. That's insane.
What were you doing at 14?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What was I doing at 14? I was like wagging school and smoking ciggies probably.
Yes, I was just being a piece of shit somewhere.
Same. So this single-cylinder automobile, you can still go see it at Duncan's BC Forestry Discovery Centre. Still on display.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. 3 years after building this car, he restored an abandoned bulldozer that had been left to rot due to heavy-duty mechanics deeming it unsalvageable. In his 20s, he found an absolutely decrepit and derelict steam locomotive just wasting away and abandoned in a rainforest in Duncan. So he decided to hire a tow truck, transport it to his home, and he restored the whole locomotive himself within only 2 years.
Oh my God, that is so fucking cool.
So impressive.
There's only a certain amount of people in the world that would look at that and be like, oh, gold mine.
I know. And
rusty train.
This train was like so broken and run down. And after he finished restoring it, he built his own functioning train tracks and would give
God.
Yep, amazing. He would give the local children train rides around the tracks.
Oh.
So there was almost nothing that Granger couldn't do within his scope of interests. He was just so in love with this kind of thing. It was literally his whole world.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to switch scenes for a moment, though we are still in Duncan. This scenario will become relevant further into the story.
Okay.
So now we're in 1969 and it's Christmas Eve, only about 6 months since Granger hauled that locomotive onto his parents' property for the first time. And we're at a hospital called the Cowichan District Hospital. I hope I got that right.
Yeah.
It's about
right.
Cowichan, yeah, hopefully.
Cowichan.
It's about 5 a.m. and there's 4 nurses who are working in the geriatric ward of the hospital and they're tending to patients. During this early morning, all 4 nurses witness at the same time a brightly illuminated saucer-shaped object hovering approximately 3 stories off the ground near the hospital's children's ward.
Oh, what the fuck?
So a very quick change in
Okay, yep.
kind of things in our story.
Yeah, wow.
So one of the nurses, who was named Doreen Kendall, was the first to notice that within this bright hovering object was what looked like 2 humanoid figures sitting in a sort of cockpit area, of which had a transparent window that which was what she was kind of looking through.
So crazy when people report that, like seeing people in the craft.
I know.
It's already crazy enough, like, to think of seeing something like that, and they're like, "Yeah, we saw the drivers." Like,
even with just like regular UFO, just boring old regular UFO sightings, it's the first thing my mind kind of goes to is like, imagine what is sitting in that craft.
that is so insane to think about. Yeah,
It's pretty eerie to think about, just thinking about what's
I don't want
to,
to, like, it's already creepy enough seeing a UFO, let alone the actual things that are flying
the
in.
beings that are in there. Yeah, exactly. So all 4 nurses started to absolutely lose their shit as they all start focusing on these beings that they can now see. And then within a split second, the craft extremely quickly flew away behind a forest of trees and out of sight. So these nurses weren't the only people to have seen something strange that very Christmas Eve morning. The exact same day, people from all over Duncan, including a handful of primary school teachers and a pilot from the Royal Canadian Air Force, reported that they had seen a brightly lit saucer-shaped craft in their town. News of this UFO spread across British Columbia like wildfire. And it's thought that Granger Taylor was especially encapsulated by the idea of UFOs visiting his hometown of Duncan. Very soon after this reported UFO visitation, Granger became extremely interested in the engineering and mechanics of air travel to a point where he even got his pilot's license and began restoring old aeroplanes.
Oh my God. That is commitment to the hobby. Like, that is amazing.
Honestly, I don't think he could help himself.
Yeah.
I think it was just, he was so obsessed with this kind of stuff that,
Holy shit.
yeah, he just, and it's just what he loved to do.
Yeah.
So he actually restored an old Nazi World War II plane in this time.
Yeah.
By the end of the 1970s, Granger had really kind of lost interest in regular type of mechanics that he was once so fond of. And he became obsessed with the idea of aeronautical propulsion, so UFOs.
Okay. I mean, makes sense.
It makes sense.
Where else are you going to go to?
Yeah. And
when you understand everything else.
Exactly. Such a smart guy as well. I feel like he would just get bored of everything else after thinking of the idea of UFOs, you know. So Granger was fascinated by the idea of such a large and strangely shaped craft having the ability to travel silently for such long distances and at such rapid speeds. Granger's fascination with this idea went so far as that Granger began attempting to construct his very own working UFO craft.
Hell yeah, Granger.
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. We like this. He first decided he'd construct a UFO-shaped office in his backyard where he would sit and research information on just how he might be able to create a successful functioning UFO.
Yeah.
This office was made from 2 scavenged large radio discs propped up on stilts, and it had a big red lightning bolt painted on its side.
Oh my God, I love that. Just
very
really
sci-fi.
getting in with the vibe.
Really just encouraging himself, yeah.
That's awesome.
Using his imagination.
Yeah.
His office UFO had a port-like window, a wood fire stove, a couch and a TV, so it was pretty cozy, and he found himself in this space most of the time, even aside from doing his research and planning for his UFO.
Yeah.
Between 1979 to 1980, Granger spent the majority of his days and nights in this office researching propulsion mechanics, as well as reading over science fiction novels just to give himself some inspiration. Then, after many months of study and contemplation, something amazing happened to Granger. According to Granger, he was laying in bed one night thinking about possibilities for creating his functional UFO, when suddenly he was apparently contacted telepathically by extraterrestrials.
Oh, shit. They found him.
They found him. Yep, they found him. This would not be the only time he was contacted either.
Wow.
According to Granger, he would be contacted several more times by the same extraterrestrials, and he said that when they would contact him telepathically, he would mostly ask them questions about the nature of their propulsion systems and how they worked in an attempt to learn more for his own UFO.
Holy shit.
Out of all the questions you could ask, he's like, how do you build a UFO?
Yeah.
But all the extraterrestrials would divulge about their vehicles is that it had something to do with magnetism, and they would say no more.
Mm-hmm.
Granger's theory on why he was contacted by the beings was that weeks leading up to the first contact, he had built a unique type of radio with the purpose of attempting to contact aliens.
Okay.
And maybe they appreciated his willingness to talk and listen to them. It would be in October of 1980 that Granger would confide in 2 close friends of his, Robert Keller and Bob Nielsen, that the aliens had contacted him again. But this time they told him that they had given him an invitation to travel on their craft and throughout the galaxy. The 2 friends he was talking to really just did not believe the validity of his story.
Right.
They presumed that he had just had a strange dream or some kind of hallucination. But they also knew that Granger was an extremely logical and straight-headed person who always had faith in facts, numbers, and data.
Yeah.
He was a hardcore mechanic, an engineer, the type of person who has the type of mind that thrives on logical sense. And they also thought if aliens were to contact someone here on Earth, Granger would probably be their first choice due to his intelligence. Granger further disclosed to his friends that the extraterrestrials told him that they planned to pick him up on a night that would be a very stormy and dark night, so as not to attract attention from anyone who might be able to see them.
Okay.
So now it's about a month after Granger's meeting with his friends, November 29th, 1980, and one of the worst storms that had reached the region blew through the town of Duncan.
Wow.
There was thunder, lightning, torrential rains, gale force winds. Trees were uprooted, roofs were blown off, power lines were brought down, cars and house windows were smashed. At about 6 p.m. on the evening of the storm, Though before the storm reached its peak and got really bad, Granger decided to go to one of his favourite places in town, a restaurant called Bob's Grill. He was a regular here and he knew all the servers and they knew him. According to the waitress that served him that evening, he ordered his usual meal. He seemed normal throughout his conversation and he was dressed in very standard Granger-looking clothing. Right. He was wearing jeans, logging boots and a brown knit jumper. So nothing out of the ordinary at all.
Everything
totally normal.
Seems normal.
And especially normal for him. Like I get the impression that he was a guy who liked what he knew, what he liked and liked what he knew.
Yeah.
Wore the same
Had his
kind
own
of shit.
routine, didn't really like to stray from anything.
No, went to the same place to eat all the time. So they could tell that he just seemed normal, you know. At 6:30, Granger paid his dinner bill, left the restaurant and was seen driving away in his light pink 1972 Datsun truck. It was the next day when the whole town was assessing the damage after the horrendous storm that had hit the night before that Granger's parents, who he had still been living with, realised that he hadn't returned home from that night from his visit to Bob's Grill just the night before. Granger's stepdad searched their house for any clue as to where he might be, and he found something very interesting. Taped to his and Grace's bedroom door, so him and his mum's bedroom door, he found a note written by Granger that read, "Dear Mother and Father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship. As recurring dreams assured, a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you as I no longer will require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger."
Holy shit.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
Granger's mother has said that, like, he had spoken to her about being contacted by extraterrestrials, and he was like, "They've told me I'm going to go on a spaceship and I want to go." But she just kind of passed it off. It's like, "Oh, all right, dear."
I mean, how seriously could you take it? Like, I feel like I would believe that, but at the same time, when they're saying like, "I'm going to be taken away soon," I'd be like, okay, like I want to believe you, but like, what am I meant to do about this?
And it's interesting because, as his friends have explained and has his family explained as well, he was a very logical and like straight-headed person. Yeah, and so for
completely
him to
out of character.
Out of character. Yeah, and if he is to say something like that, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, Granger's just up to his old tricks again." You'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
You know? So, on the back of the note was a hand-drawn map of what's not exactly known. It was a map of some kind, and it was perceived by some to be a map of a place called Waterloo Mountain, which is a place about 15 kilometres away from the Taylor home.
Oh, okay.
The Taylor family, as well as a couple of his friends that he had, searched absolutely high and low for Granger. They searched hospitals, logging roads, mountain trails, hotels, motels, restaurants, everywhere, but to no avail. Not even a sign of his very distinctive Pepto-Bismol pink truck.
Yeah.
Eventually, his family did look through his will, just like his departure note had suggested, and it was found that throughout the will, Granger had replaced the word deceased with departed at every opportunity in the document. So for weeks, Granger was searched for, and those weeks turned into months, and nothing was found. Eventually, after a while, time had reached the point in which Granger had suggested he was going to return after 42 months, which was June 29th, 1983. On this night, one of Granger's stepbrothers, Douglas Taylor, who was a Canadian Coast Guard, spent the night sitting out on one of his workboats, watching and searching the skies for any sign of strange lights or UFOs that might indicate his brother's return, but he did not see anything, which, oh God, that is just so sad. I can't even...
I'd be doing the same. Like 42 months, was it?
42 months.
Yeah.
You would do anything,
To have like
wouldn't you?
this end time, like, I'll be back at this time. You'd be like, oh, okay.
You would go out and you would wait.
Yeah, you'd be waiting. Fucking hell.
Yeah. So in 1986, which is 6 years after Granger's disappearance, local council workers in Duncan happened across a strange artificial crater found in one of the forestry areas of the town, the crater being a few meters wide.
Oh.
Surrounding the crater were rusted and discoloured fragments of what looked like was once a truck at some point. When the Canadian Mounties investigated the scene, they found a few shards of bone also, which after being tested did turn out to be human bone. There are some people who believe that these remains of the truck and the bones are those of Granger Taylor. But there are many more people, most of who were close to Granger, who claim that this evidence just does not line up. Also, because DNA testing was really just in its infancy, it was not an option at the time to test the remains that were found. And weirdly enough, the remains, we don't know where they are now. So they can't be tested. Yeah, because we don't know where they are. So let's look at both sides of this coin. Let's look at why people do think this is the remains of Granger. So Granger was known to frequently carry dynamite in his truck. So that is definitely kind of a tick, which he would use to blow up tree stumps and such.
Right.
And thought by some that Granger drove into the wilderness and either intentionally or accidentally blew himself up.
Yeah.
The remains of the vehicle found looked like what could have been a Datsun truck, and the location really wasn't that far from where Granger lived, though it wasn't Waterloo Mountain.
Yeah, that's very specific that he mentioned that location.
Exactly, yes. There's been theories that Granger, in a depression and frustration of not being able to solve his UFO propulsion equation, decided to take his life and leave the note for his family to find in a way to ease their pain and give them hope.
No way.
Exactly.
It didn't seem like that person just be like, it's not working. That's it.
Exactly. That's such a great
Likes
point.
the challenge.
You literally hit the nail on the head. So those who are closest to Granger deny like any theories that Granger was depressed or showed any signs of mental health issues, even though people who are depressed don't always show signs. But yeah, he didn't show any outward signs. And in fact, they claim that Granger was so determined to figure out aeronautical propulsion that there's no way he would take his life. He was so obsessed and invested in working this out. It meant too much to him.
Yeah.
So they just don't feel like that's something that he would do. Not at all.
Yeah.
So now to the other side of the coin, where we're going to look at those who don't believe any of these theories at all and feel this evidence does not make any sense. And these people include Granger's mother, Grace, and friend Robert Keller from earlier, as well as many others. So first of all, the truck that was found in the forest that had been exploded was a blue colour. Robert Keller, Granger's close friend, says that not only does he distinctly remember Granger's truck being an obnoxious Pepto-pink colour, but he was with Granger when he painted it himself. If he had painted his car blue at some point, it would have had to have been the night of the storm hitting Duncan.
Right, okay.
Which seems implausible. Like,
it was pouring down with rain. Like, why would you do that? Yeah.
No. just is not an option. Not only that, but he knew for a fact that Granger at any time only ever carried a very small amount of dynamite with him, not enough to blow up a person, let alone a large truck and a large person.
Yeah, right, okay.
So he did carry dynamite, but...
Like enough to, like, blow up his, like, leg meat.
Yeah.
You know, if it was in his pocket or whatever.
Just a drumstick and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So not to mention that at the side of the crater, the explosion had been so forceful that parts of the truck were found tens of meters caught in the trees above.
Holy shit.
It was a forceful explosion.
Yeah, that would have been like a lightning strike or something. Like.
Yeah. It definitely wouldn't have been.
That's crazy.
Just from a small amount of dynamite. So Robert Keller told investigators that Granger had been using dynamite for years and years. So he was not only extremely proficient in how to use it, but being the methodical and exacting person that he was, he always took extreme precautions when using the dynamite.
Yeah.
And he claims there's no way Granger would have made this kind of mistake. And it wasn't in his nature to make mistakes like this.
Yeah.
Not in any way. And not only that, but for a whole large human, as well as a massive truck to explode in this way, it would take 2 or 3 tons of dynamite to make this kind of forceful explosion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not only that Granger only carried a small amount, like he would need tons of the stuff. Between the evidence not really making sense, the perfectly timed storm that Granger had predicted before his disappearance, his claims of being contacted by extraterrestrials prior to his disappearance. It's a very strange case. After Granger disappeared, his mother Grace published multiple notices in newspapers and radio, whatever she could, giving details of Granger and his big pink truck, which was a truck that was very hard to miss. Yet not one person ever came forward to say that they saw him or his vehicle at any point. Most of his family do believe now that he was taken by aliens.
Right, okay.
Whether this is to soften the blow of him being missing or if they really are considering the points of this case, I do not know. But yeah, so that's interesting that they do.
I think he
was taken.
You would have to come to terms with it. I think knowing your son and the way he is, and speaking to his friends, and with all the evidence that's there, you'd be like, it sounds like it's the craziest. Way for it to go, but it makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense, and especially
listen to what he's saying. This is what happens.
Just knowing the type of person he was. Like, and his history, and he lived with his family his whole life. Like, they knew exactly what he was like. I don't think,
And also that the 4 nurses in the hospital. So when they saw that ship, was that the night of the storm?
No. So it was. I can't tell you how soon before it was, but it was before. It wasn't the same night. I mean, that would have been incredible that. If it was the same night, but no, it was a time before.
So it seems like it's something that's happened in the town before. So
yes, yeah, that's it. So there were UFOs, like very
I wonder
clearly
what other
seen.
missing people there were, considering it's such a small town. Like
yes, yeah. Well, that's another point is that his truck was very obvious, very recognizable. No one saw it even once. To be able to say, like, yes, I saw him at this point.
It's just gone.
Just gone. He left Bob's Grill, and then
holy
he's
shit,
never seen again. So I did see someone make a good point on an article, like reading about this case, where so Einstein's theory of relativity states that like time on Earth and time in space is different.
Yeah.
So perhaps for Granger, if he is in space, maybe it hasn't been 42 months yet.
That's a good point.
Maybe it's like a longer time.
Yeah, because you age heaps slower when you go up in space.
Yeah. So maybe it's like that's why.
Yeah, I wonder
It's
how
not
you
back.
can measure, because I remember they did that test with twins. They sent a twin up into one of the space stations.
No way.
And I think they had them up there for like 2 years, and when they came back down, they looked different or something. So I
I've
wonder if there's a
never
way you
heard
can
of that.
kind of measure it and
Measure
then figure
it.
out.
I'm
'Cause
sure
that's
there
a
would
good
be.
point.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool point. It's like, yeah, maybe he's still up there and he will be back
He's
one
like,
day.
not that 42 months. Like,
This 42 months. Maybe he's just enjoying himself too much up there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to come back.
That's such a good story.
That's
I
really
love
cool.
that. Really fascinating. I think I definitely, I just believe him. Like, I just think that that's so crazy and outrageous for someone to just switch and just instantly being like, oh, UFOs, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
It's like, he's not going to start mentioning that unless something's actually happened.
Yeah,
He hasn't
exactly.
lost the plot.
No.
He's been looking into this topic a lot more, and we hear this all the time. It's not a rare thing at all, you know?
No, and I think that's there's so many different, like, interesting aspects about this. Like, it's Granger's nature, like his personality mixed with his obsessions in life, which was like engineering and mechanics. And this is very like a field that is super like logical, very kind of like mathematical based.
He's a perfect specimen for them to take up. They're just like, oh, let's just get this guy. He knows what he's doing.
And it really does say something about him. I mean, I can't say this for sure, but I just don't feel like he would have just kind of bullshitted to everyone like, oh, I'm being contacted by aliens and then just disappear.
Yeah, what's the point? Yeah, and then just drives off to a different town to live in. Like, why?
Yeah, no. And then
he left all of his possessions with them. So what's he going to do?
And there would have been some kind of sighting of him of some kind, I think.
Yeah.
If he'd just gone to a different town.
But yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
Oh, this is a great episode. This is such a good episode. I know we say this all the time, but I loved your list.
Yes.
I am such a sucker
I'm
for
glad
stuff
you
like
liked
that.
it. Yeah, it was a risky one. I was like, okay, it's not too spooky, but it's just very fucking weird.
Great. I'm definitely learning to love it doesn't have to be super spooky. It can be weird.
A head scratcher.
A head scratcher.
Like, chin stroke, a head scratcher.
A bum scratcher.
And your one was great, as always. I love a good UFO story.
You. Yeah, I thought
mystery.
You would. A mystery? Well, we don't even know if it's a...
Yeah, that's it. We don't really know. I know what you mean now at the start. You're like, mystery? Maybe UFO.
Kind of UFO crossover.
Yeah, I think mystery first, UFO second for that one.
Yeah. Oh, well, cracker episode.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you so much to our patrons.
Yes.
Mwah. Kisses for you.
Thank you, patrons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you guys are amazing.
We appreciate your support so much.
Yeah. Really good episode. Hope you guys liked it. And you'll hear our voices next week.
Speak at you then. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
This episode of Spooky Mountain was created and recorded on land of the original custodians, the Gundungurra and Bidjigal people. We pay respects to the past, present, and emerging mob. My name is Jordi, and I'm a proud Gunya woman. Thank you for listening.